Hello folks, and what I have for you today is another gear closet session that I'm doing during coronavirus quarantine because there isn't much to do around my apartment, so I'm just making videos about stuff. And the subject matter for today's video is going to be why I don't fully subscribe to ultralight backpacking. And I know that could be a controversial topic for some. There are various videos and threads lighting the internet aflame about ultralight backpacking deniers. And you know what? I'm not going to say I'm a denier, but I'm definitely a skeptic. Without further ado, let's get into the listicle. Reason number one why I don't subscribe to ultralight backpacking: I don't like spending a lot of time on Reddit. Yeah, that's about it. Okay, real reason number one why I don't subscribe to ultralight backpacking, and that is base weight. I do not care one iota about what my base weight is. Yeah, I'm a little bit punk rock about base weight. You better believe it. And the reason I don't care about base weight is because I just get all my gear together, take out the things that I probably don't need, look at the things that I could probably lose some weight on if I'm willing to spend the money, because I don't want to spend $500 to save 2 ounces on a tent, and just pare things down that way rather than trying to meet a base goal. Because I also think base weight is for people that are like 5'2" and weigh 120 pounds and don't need a long or large size in anything. So base weight, I just don't really care what it ends up being. I just take what I think I need and get the lightest stuff I want to pay for and hit the trail. Let's move on to number two on my listicle, and that is shelters. And at the time of making this video, we all know that Dyneema composite fiber, or DCF shelters, are the lightest you can pretty much get on the market. And personally, I just don't want to spend like $500 or $600 for a shelter that saves me really a few ounces. Because for that $500 or $600, you know what I can get? Like 2 or 3 sil poly or sil nylon shelters. And, you know, I got this nice little bivy sack here too, 4-season bivy sack. And 2 or 3 shelters for the price of one sounds pretty good to me, because we all know that ultralight backpacking is about the amount of gear you own and not about the usefulness of the gear you own. Right, folks? Right. Now, the next item on the big three, packs. I don't use frameless packs. I don't even use frameless packs for day hiking, because I've found over the years is that having something even as low as like 10 pounds for a day hike, which you're going to need where I live even in the summertime, because you're going to need like 3 liters of water and food and the other gear, and it adds up. And what I find is that for that weight and above, I just prefer a frame. I just prefer how that frame distributes and balances the weight. And even in this pack, I think the frame is 6 ounces. It adds weight. It adds a little bit of weight. But I'm willing to make the sacrifice of that weight sacrifice just for comfort, especially even on a day pack, because the weight gain isn't that much. Now on a full-size hiking backpack, you know, I'm looking at maybe up to a pound extra in weight. And to me, I found, you know, when I'm carrying those multi-day loads, having a frame system, a good frame system, a robust frame system, is going to push my weight closer to 3 pounds than 2 pounds. And you know what? I'm perfectly okay with that. So, moving on to the next part of the big three, sleep systems. Okay, my sleeping pad. There was a time in my life where I slept on a 1-inch thick, torso length Thermarest ProLite, one of the first versions of the ProLite. And you know what? I slept okay through the night. But those days are over. I can't do closed cell foams. I can't do thin 1-inch pads. And even those inflatable air pads that get up to 3 or 4 inches thick, something about those just feels too bouncy and pool toy-like for me ever to feel comfortable on them. So what have I found works for me over the years? Just your traditional Thermarest self-inflatable foam air pad. And this definitely cost me a few ounces. This is my cold weather pad. I wouldn't use this in the summer, but I've just found that this is the most comfortable pad for me. And I don't feel like spending like $200 to try out all these inflatable air pads and figure out which one's best for me. I did that for 2 or 3 pads, and it just got annoying. So I just stuck with this, and it works for me. Now, sleeping bags. Okay, you got me here. I've converted to backpacking quilts, and they're great. I like them. So, no complaints there. The final element of the sleep system, the pillow. And like my pad, back in the day, I used to sleep on a rolled up sweater, rolled up jacket. Those days are over. My neck hurts more, and I need something comfortable. So I do have a pillow that I use. In the wintertime, I might try stuffing these in a stuff sack, down jacket or whatever, and extra clothes, seeing if that works better than the inflatable pillow. But for now, in the warm weather, I'm using an inflatable pillow. Yeah, it cost me a couple ounces, but I'm okay with that. All right, moving beyond the big 3. Let's talk about another high weight item, food. Okay, food. First of all, cold soaking in a jar. No. Just no. It's not happening for me. I like my coffee. I like my tea. I like my hot oatmeal. I like a nice hot dinner after a day on the trail. It can also be psychologically beneficial if the weather is a little bit colder. So, cold soaking, it's not going to happen for me. What about food? For some reason, I eat a lot of food on the trail, and I don't like having a calorie deficit and feeling hungry. And I find that it takes me 1.5 pounds to almost 2 pounds of food a day for me to feel full. And maybe it's because of the food I'm eating. Maybe I could up my oatmeal and couscous consumption. But I do like these protein-rich, calorie-rich type things, like peanut butter. And even those individual peanut butter packets. There's not enough of one of those for me for a meal. The amount of waste that's produced, I'm not crazy about that either. So I just bring the whole peanut butter jar, and I just take globs at a time. And I don't ever have to feel hungry. And I like that. All right? So, food, it's tough for me to go ultralight on food. Another consumable, water. All right? Well, those smart water bottles, I ain't crazy about them. And I'm not going to explain why, because that could be a whole video in itself. So I just use these Nalgene's, with the, what do we got here? The UV HP plastic. These are fine with me. It definitely cost me a few ounces. When I need a little more water carrying capacity, what I take with me is a lightweight water bladder. And that system, I'm happy with it, and I haven't found anything I like better. So, I guess I'm not ultralight with water carriage. Now, another big one, this is my last item in the listicle, is clothing. Now, I don't know what kind of experiences you've had backpacking and hiking, but I've had experiences where I have been cold for multiple days straight, and I just can't get warm. I have gone on day hikes in the wintertime where I was not sure if I was going to get back to the car. And those situations can be very unenjoyable and even scary. And I remember them very well. And so, in response to that, I'm a little bit paranoid about being cold. And so I might carry 1 or 2 more garments of clothing that add to my base weight, that keep me warm. And that is something I'm willing to do in exchange for knowing that I'm going to be warm with the conditions I'm encountering. Another thing is I have some clothes that are a bit old, and they're not the lightest, like this Patagonia down sweater. I've had this for 8-9 years, and I like it. And I could go and get myself a lighter down jacket, but I don't really want to, because this thing is still perfectly fine. And there are times where I like synthetic gear over down gear for certain environments and situations, because I just want that insulating factor while it is wet. So, clothing, yeah, I probably could do some work there, but I've had my experiences, and there are certain types of clothing that I prefer to bring. Okay, folks, that's the end of the list, and I'm going to wrap this video up. So, maybe one day I'll be able to fulfill my hopes and dreams of being a devout follower of the ultralight backpacking religion. But until then, I will remain a person that has gear that's probably too heavy, and be a bit skeptical and cynical towards the ultralight trend. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Don't do anything stupid during coronavirus quarantine. And I hope to have you watch more of my videos in the future and maybe even see you out on the trail. I'll see you later, folks.